Okay, so the first part of this, I'm going to show you what I've done and I'll show you how it works. We'll run through a day. I will fast forward and then we're going to take care of the other goals here, right? So last I mentioned I was going to work on this whole device here, this monstrosity in the middle, right? We're going to have a bunch of racks, each with a separate cargo type, with pausers at the end of it, auto loaders, auto unloaders, right? So we're going to try to keep stuff off the edges here, especially the stuff like rail, maritime, and air, because you can see like air. No, this is maritime. Maritime's backing up again. Luckily now, the last day, just before this one, everything was open, rail and everything. So let me show you what I did here. And welcome back, my little group of maniacs. This is Parcel Simulator. I'm your pal Veedo. Yeah, I'm in the parcel game. And we've made a few changes down here, right? Got rid of one of the bridges, but I'm still backing up right there. I told you last time that joiners and bridges, as helpful as they are, they're also very, very harmful as far as flow. Right, because things tend to back up here. These, I've mentioned several times, act as 3 separate conveyor belts when you're talking about distance, right? So if there's something anywhere on these 3, everything backs up and waits for it, right? So anyway, let me show you what I did here. Started up this whole thing about caching or buffering, like engineering terms, right? So what's happening now on all 3 of them? I had this one last time, but I'll show you it anyway. They come in here off of this one and they sort of buffer into these 2 racks. That holds up to 40. That allows this to flow just non-stop all day long, right? So it comes in here, it goes through the racks here. If it's not full, everything's cool. Didn't mean to rhyme, but it goes down this ramp here, or this conveyor belt, into the main line, into the 2 scanners, into the gauntlet, right? I had also talked about putting a second gauntlet here. I'm not sure yet. Not sold on it. We'll see. Right, so I sort of mimicked the same thing, but with only 1 rack, because I found that 2 was probably maybe overkill. Right, so the second one comes in, he does his own thing right there, and he does the same thing. Comes back in here, rejoins the main line. Same thing down here. This is the last one, comes over here, goes into that rack, comes back here. This is enough ramp right here to keep things moving slightly. Now, I did notice things still do tend to get backed up, mainly because of this main line right here. I've solved the problem of getting stuff into the warehouse, but stuff still backs up here, and it still winds up costing me revenue. And if you don't know about this game, the more packages you bring in per day, that's more revenue, because you get paid per box, for correct submission, I should say. So the more you get in here, it behooves you to get them in here, right? So anytime you have to back up where this stays open and you don't get the next shipment, you're losing revenue, because time is ticking away, and you're not getting those extra boxes, right? So I'm going to go ahead and start the next day, and I'm going to show you how it all works. Last time I showed this, I believe this is rail, and I still have a problem. I had this stuff way backed up whenever rail closes for a couple days, because rail seems to be the one with the most packages per day. So when it's open, it's fine. It runs perfect. We have 2 racks here, so that's 40. But let me tell you, when rail is closed, this backs up big time. I have to wind up throwing stuff off there onto the floor. Oh yeah, and it's not good when this backs up, because then it backs up the road cargo, right? Because it just goes straight in. There's no delay on that. It should just go straight. But if rail's backed up here, guess what? Road cargo doesn't flow this side. Yeah. So the other fun stuff I showed a couple episodes ago and last episode. Yeah, we still have our jumpers here, and still have the the little weird problems where it misses and flies off there at weird angles. But for the most part, everything works well, and it all goes down there into the landing zone. All right, so let's go ahead and start. Nothing has changed over here. I need to modify this. Right, this is going to be part of what I'm going to do today. I'm going to tear this part out here. And maybe, thinking about it, maybe make the gauntlet horizontal this way. That way I can do something there, maybe put a second gauntlet or something. It's just, this runway into here is too short. And you notice another one, right? A joiner, that's a problem. Right, everything comes in there, comes down to here. This one comes in real short runway, and everything backs up here. Now, what I did on the other end over there is I put a second sticker checker. So that's a possibility too, but the way I have this laid out now, this vertical setup, if you're talking vertical, if you're talking about from here, like this is perpendicular, there's really no easy way without putting another bridge in here, which I don't want to do, and to put in a second sticker checker. So I'm thinking that if I put this horizontally this way, maybe I could put the second sticker checker next to it and then feed them in. I don't know yet. We're going to see. I'm going to show you the backup and what happens here. The other thing that happens, right, so these are working well with the maritime and air, but maritime and air tend to be closed for more than 1 or 2 days at a time. All right, so what ends up happening there is this is the main feeder for maritime and air. When they start really backing up, especially air, it'll back up here, and then, yeah, problem, right? Because Everything else has to flow down that way. Like rail flows down that way, and rail being the biggest one, there's a lot of stuff that flows through this way. Also, the approved stuff flows that way and out the gate for cargo, road cargo. So it's a problem when air backs up because then it stops this splitter, this smart splitter. That's not a good thing. So I still have some bottlenecks in my operation here. We have to solve that. By the way, look at the top right. First of all, the money, 215K. I mean, I can buy what I want, any amount that I want. It does not affect me anymore. Second thing, 551 and 1 the previous day. You're saying, oh, Veedo, you weren't perfect, so your setup isn't right. No, I explained it last time. When things... when the jumpers have a problem, sometimes the boxes stack up here. And if I'm not careful, they'll overflow onto this belt here. It doesn't know any better. It just thinks it's air or maritime, and it goes down that way, and then I don't know what that thing will do if it doesn't see air or maritime, right? It either gets stuck here or something. It's not a good thing. So what I'm planning on doing, I think, is maybe curve, like have it jump here, and then maybe curve out 2 rows. Maybe move this over a couple lanes this way. That way, if they back up here, they'll just overflow onto the empty floor, right? I think that's what I have to do. So when I pause after I go through a day here, I think that's the first thing I'm going to do. That'll alleviate any errors, right? Not that it matters at this point. I'm making so much money. It doesn't really matter. No, it doesn't. So it's the end of the day. We had a banner day, personal best, 551. Let's try to beat that next day. Open the door. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Something really weird. So I mentioned the assets. One of the assets in the game is the same as one of the ones that I saw over in Factory Outlet Simulator, right? The other thing I noticed, every once in a while, I can hear like hawks or birds in the background. I guess it's supposed to be out there. I don't know, but I never heard that stuff in a city before. I don't know. Let's go start the next day. 2 of the 3 are closed again, as usual. Air, maritime closed. Rail, thankfully, is open. So let's go ahead and start up. Boink. You get to see this madness in its all its glory, right? So this is the buffer in action, the cache. I'm thinking maybe if I keep this, I'll probably put a second rack here. That way it buffers a lot more. Because you notice it's already going into the main line. That's, as I like to say, no bueno. Right, so I think I miscalculated. I thought maybe 2 racks was too much. Maybe I could do it with just 1. It's not true. Look, you can see the main line is already building up. Same thing with this one. There's a little more off-ramp here to do that, an on-ramp. But you can see, yeah, things are going to start slowing down, right? We're going to have traffic jams here. Yeah, right there. See, he had to stop. He had to stop. He slows down. He's going to stop. Right. So now that will eventually back into here. Yeah, it's not good. Not ideal. Right, but again, the bottom line is getting everything in the doors, right? As much as you can in the doors throughout the day, and then worry about processing later. So the bottlenecks that happen later, not that big of a deal, right? Because you could submit long past... There's the first box flying away. You can submit long past 5 o'clock when the day's over with, right? So it's really... The game is about... the game is about getting stuff in those doors, right? So that's what I'm working on right now. Trying to get stuff in as much as I can. Get these doors open and closed as fast as possible. And what's good, you see all 3 in unison, opening and closing. That's a good thing. That means everything's flowing. When you start to see one of them not closing or 2 of them not closing, that means things are starting to back up. And I can tell you, things are, it's not moving super fast over there. But I tell you, nothing worse than a flat Coke that you buy from the store. Ugh. Yeah, but a flat Coke, better than no Coke any day, right? Am I right? Yes, I am. Yeah, so they're still opening in unison. That's a good thing. But look what's happened here, right? You see it. Major traffic jam. Rush hour has started. But the buffers are working. That's exactly what I wanted them to do. But they're going to start backing up. We get enough in here, that buffer will start backing up too. This side should do just fine, but again, he has to come in and merge. So everything's slowing down in this corner. Right, you can see it. Stuff's backing up. Right, so there's another upgrade I could do, and it's package type. So let's take a look at the tablet. I did not even realize there was another upgrade here. All right, 2 more. Insulated boxes and hard shell containers. We get $7 per parcel for valid, $15 per parcel for that. Now, what's the difference? I don't know. Let's go ahead and get them. Why not, right? We got so much money, it doesn't matter. I think that is it, except for contracts. But I have not been doing contracts because there's not a lot of money being made there. Not at this level of the game. Now, okay, yep, there's our first hard shell. Pretty nice. Looks like it has explosives in it, possibly. What was that? Styrofoam? Omaha steaks? Sending me some steaks? Let's go. Yeah, working well. So this one, worth 15 bucks. Very nice. Everything's still opening and closing in unison, but yeah, here we go. Right? The buffer starting to stack up. Once it hits 20, it's going to back up to there, and we can no longer receive cargo until it clears. It's going to get there because this stuff just not moving at all, or at least not fast enough. You're seeing it's building up. There's only, 5 slots left. So we poured one out of the bottom, but I think it's coming in faster than it's leaving. Same thing over there. You're starting to see it build up a little bit. That one, perfect, right? Looks great. We're going to go over and check and make sure we don't have a bottleneck with the jumping bot we do. I can see it. Happened right there. Oh, yeah. Go. Oh, gee. What was that all about? That is spectacular. This side, it doesn't look bad, but because of this right here, because of the short runway, we don't get the throughput on this side that we should. So this is one of the things I'm going to fix today. As I mentioned at the top, I think what I'm going to do is lay this out horizontally, the gauntlet. So yeah, I got to tear it all down, redo it. But I think in the end, things will be much better off for it. We're at 96-0. Gotta love that. Also, keep in mind, we're only doing ground today. We're doing ground and rail today. Right, so no air, no maritime. And hey, folks, while you're here, if you could, hit that thumbs up, that subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Viewership way up. Right, for the longest time, I was complaining about getting, like, just double digits every 48 hours. We're closing in, like, 150 a day right now the past couple days. And subscribership way up, 191 as of right now. Now, keep in mind, I'm talking to you at the beginning of August. So we missed the target of 200, but I'm so happy. The fact that I even sniffed 200. Hit 189, I think, on July 31st, which was great. And today, we're talking like August 2nd. We're at 191, so it's moving up, for me, rather quickly. I appreciate it. So if it was my peeps out there, my little Google Maniacs, telling people to, tune in, I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. If it's the algorithm, then hey, great. Thanks, Al. You made me happy for once, but something's changed. Let's just say things are way up, and I'm really happy. So I'm going to keep it up, I promise. More content coming, more new titles coming. I have a couple more to introduce here. Some fun ones. I think you'll like them. But yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Keep up comments, too. I love comments. I figured out how to pin... yep, it's back up. Yep, it's official. I figured out how to pin comments the other day, so I'm starting to pin people's comments. If you make a comment, you're the first one, I'll probably pin it, if it's, something to pin. Right? So, a couple people have already got their comments pinned, so congrats to you! Woo! Right. So, let's get to the end of this day. It's going to take a little while, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. And I'll be right back, and we'll see the results of this day, then I'll fast forward again, I'll go and tear some crap down. Almost said. I didn't want to say it the other way. It just sounded vulgar. But yeah, tear some crap down and rebuild over here. See if we can alleviate the low throughput over here. And then finally, maybe not today, maybe the next episode, we're going to get the prototype. And we're going to line this up and get it all working. And that'll be like maybe the ultimate until some new content comes out. So yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, Veedo has done some stuff here. I'm going to show you around. We're just at the end of a test day here. But, yeah, let me show you the differences here. You can see one of the big differences right there. The prototype has grown. Doubled it. So now we have 10. I think there's 10 there, right? Is it 10 or is it 12? I don't know. I can't remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2, 10. 10 each. Rail is the first 2 sets. And cargo, road cargo is the second 2. Now, of course, I plan on moving the maritime and the air over to here into their own racks as well, and take that away from the side, because that only causes backups after a while, right? You can see here, maritime's backed up. Another day of that, and it's going to cause a bottleneck for getting air down there. So, what else did I do here? Well, we sort of curved this a little bit out of the way so that I could put this in, right? There's a pauser at the end of the rail. That alleviates this problem that I was having here, right? Yeah. So now I can pause it at the racks. And there's 10 racks times 20. That's 200 packages. Hopefully, rail should not back up that much. Now, the biggest change is going to be over here. I completely tore this out like several times. Nightmare, but I think I finally got it figured out. It looks kind of kludgy, right? The logic here, but it works out. So let me walk you through real quick. What do you got? All right, so each one has their own buffer now. So they come in, they each have 2 racks. They fill up, they come flowing out of here, and then they join into one, which we know is bad, but with the buffer, it's not as bad, right? We didn't see that problem. By the way, 498 to know, and we still have a few more going into the machines down there, into the chutes. So anyway, it goes into the sticker checker. If valid, it heads down this way, and I'll show you that in a minute. If invalid, of course, it goes down to reject chute, along with all these other ones, right? This is the gauntlet. It's just sort of wrapped around in a horseshoe now. Why? Because this area is not big enough to have this stretched out and use the space efficiently. So, yeah, so go through the gauntlet. You know the deal, right? Approved or valid goes into the next one. If it's valid, goes there. Otherwise, it rejects, right? So, gets to the end. And as usual, comes out here. Anything that makes it through the gauntlet, the last check is the restricted items check, right? So it goes through its little loop here. It'll go check them. If it's invalid, send them down the chute. If it's valid, that means that package has passed the gauntlet. There is nothing else wrong with it. It gets stamped approved, right? So that's actually an efficiency I made right there. Then it comes out here, joins in. As I mentioned before, this is the pre-approved stickers. They come down here. They join in together here. This needs to turn into a corner. I'm not sure why I left that like that. So this is a smart diverter, right? So it diverts it into road, rail, and then air and maritime. The reason why you have to do this is you can't tell it road and rail at the same time. So it just splits it in there, then it rejoins. Then it comes down here, and it splits it again. It says road, you go there, go into your racks. Rail, you go into your racks. Yeah, makes sense. And then, of course, as it was before, this has not changed. This comes down into maritime and air, splits them into those right there. Now this is a part I'm going to tear out, along with all these racks. Those are going to wind up being over here, probably pushed down more, so that I can keep my little launch pad here. So the maritime and air will actually have their own set of 10 racks. That stuff along the side will go away. You will no longer see backups like that. Oh, it's beautiful. And then the launcher. What did I do with the launcher? Well, I moved it away from that other ramp, or the other conveyor belt, like I was mentioning, because things were overflowing onto it when they would get stuck. So what I did is I had to go to a little curvy curve right here. It jumps over here, and then I started setting up these landing pads like I did back there. So now it sort of catches things. I have not solved the problem of things rocketing off of there, but it has slowed them down a little bit. I don't see it as much. So there's a lot more landing area here for them to go, and then this final, of course, launches it there. And I will show you here in a second. Hopefully Maritime will be open the next day. But yeah, we've done it. I'm going to go ahead and pause my rail. And pause air, because I think there's no way it's going to be open 2 days in a row. We'll pause that. So I'm going to show you one day, and then we will call it a day. And then offline, I'm going to grind some more, see if I can, like I said, move all that stuff to the center here. And that might be the final configuration. Don't know yet. Have still not figured out the bottlenecks here. So that's probably the next episode, is probably tearing that out and redoing it to make it more efficient. So let's go to the next day. I'll be right back. You look at the money there too, and you're saying, you didn't spend that much money. Oh no, I did. I brought that down to like 160K. The money I made in the last day has brought it back up. So yeah, I spent a ton of money doing this stuff. And I got some stuff to sell back. All right, this is all extra stuff. So let's go ahead and start the next, yeah, we got no air, no maritime, and no rail. Beautiful. So now we're really going to test out the buffer system, all right? Woo! But this works out really well, I will say. I was watching it the previous day, and it really buffers things. It's really nice. Now, my numbers were stunted a little bit, too, because I made a big boo-boo here the day before. So things were backing up on here, and I didn't realize it until about halfway through the day. So hopefully now everything was cool. That's why I had to do this little snaky thing. Things just... I just had a total meltdown in logic here, but it's working now. So what I really want to see is the increase in numbers, right? Let's see what road cargo alone gets us. Right, so this is what I was talking about. There's like a little landing pad here, and it circles around. Make sure that it corrects itself and makes it back onto the main jumping area. So it, for the most part, works. Every once in a while, you still see one that just rockets off of one of these ramps, these launchers. And it doesn't make sense. I don't know. But I tried to limit that as much as possible by giving it as much landing zone as possible. It almost did it. So this is the prototype I was talking about, in case you hadn't seen it. Right? He just sort of flows down. The best way I can tell you to visualize this, if you stood this thing up on its end, so that this was the top and that was the bottom, we're basically pouring stuff down into it. And at the bottom, there's like a valve, right? And it just sort of leaks out the bottom. That's what this is like. It's like an inverted jar here, or a sideways jar anyway. So yeah, if you think about it as top to bottom, it makes more sense if you understand what I'm doing. Just flowing stuff in the top and out the bottom. Going well so far. 11:30, no mishaps over here on the launch pad. Ooh, that one almost did it. Ah, yeah, see, that one almost fell off. That's those new ones, the hard shell packages. Nice. Very nice. Yes. Okay, well, let's go over here. Make sure everything's going well. The gauntlet looks like it's moving. We're backing up a little bit right here. And it's, again, because of a joiner. Right, there's nothing we can do. The only way around this would be to have a gauntlet for each one. And I started to do that. There's just not enough room for it. I would have to tear out a lot of stuff here. Now maybe, I'm thinking on the fly here. Maybe once I move those racks into the prototype there, all those ramps will go away, or the conveyor belts will go away like that. I can sort of shove everything down. Maybe put a second gauntlet horseshoe right over there, so that one gets its own, each one gets its own, right? I don't know, maybe, that might work. The good news is the buffer's not filling up. It's backing up a little bit right here, but there's so much buffer there, right? So 40 packages, basically. Each of them has enough for 40. This one's backing up a tiny bit. But remember, there's 2 racks there, so I think I'm okay there. I don't see any major problems right now. Except for this. Yep, there we go. For no reason. Yeah, it just rocketed off there. Whoa, that one was up there. And I know the answer, right? The answer is don't do that, right? Veedo, you're putting this on yourself. Don't do that. But it's fun, okay? So, I know I could also make the landing pad a little higher, but I'm trying to avoid putting too many conveyor belts out here. That defeats the purpose of what I'm trying to do. I want it to leap around. Now, also the next episode, what you're going to see. I'm going to do it. I swear I'm going to do it. Those chutes, they, to me, are targets as far as the launchers. So instead of things going in via the chute, via a conveyor belt, no, they're going to go in via launcher, right? We're going to launch directly in to the chutes. Yeah, it's going to happen. And the beauty of that, of course, is not all of them are parallel with each other, right? There are a lot of them, or most of them are perpendicular to each other over here. So you're going to see boxes flying back and forth. I'm really curious to see what happens when they occupy the same space. Are they going to collide? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe it'll just look spectacular. We'll see. Okay, so things are going well over here. You know, a couple little hiccups with the launchers. That's fine. Let's see. This is moving well. Oh yeah, our buffer. Ooh, it's getting stacked. Don't think it's reached the limit yet. Still looks like everything's still flowing in there. Yeah, we're still flowing. But it's not going to take much more, I think, to fill that buffer up. And it's not moving very quickly out of it. I think we're going to reach another limit there. Just have to keep rethinking it. Like I said, maybe a gauntlet for each one. I don't know. My main focus in between episodes, though, is going to be tearing all that out, moving it into the interior there, right? And then maybe putting a second gauntlet horseshoe right here. Who knows? We'll see. And then, of course, for funsies, at the end of next episode, we are going to do Launchpad Central. Right? Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So, everything's looking good here. I don't think there's much more to see other than that buffer is almost full, so is that one. As soon as that happens, things start backing up into the trucks. But right now, we're still pumping a lot of cargo, unprocessed, mind you, into the area here. Right, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, the important thing is getting cargo into the warehouse. All right? We can process anytime. The more we get into the warehouse before the end of the day, the more parcels we move on the day. Correct? Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say, why is the rail back up? Yeah, because the rail's closed. This, yeah, we still have a problem. Right, the joiner and the bridge causing a problem, especially back-to-back. Joiner and a bridge, bad news. All right, I'm going to fast forward through this right here because all you're seeing is the same thing. And we'll see the final tally. We're going to tally the bananas and see where we stand. And then, yeah, we'll call it a day. Be right back. Okay, as the last few trickle in here, you're asking yourself, you know, what's one day's worth of rail not working? You're seeing it right here. Filled up all but 2 racks of the 10, right? Craziness. But we did well. 314 and 0. Yeah, that was all road cargo, essentially, right? Yeah. Now we have 6 more sitting in here. Hey. 320. Boom. We have a couple more coming down the road here. So, yeah, that's going to do it for today. This has been Parcel Simulator. I'm your pal Veedo. Yeah, next time... Yeah, this is really messed up. So, yeah, next time, we're going to finish off the prototype here, the big machinery in the center, and then I'm going to do something about this. Got to figure out this. Yeah, things should get a lot better by the end of next episode, and then we're going to do some fun stuff, as I mentioned. We're going to do some Launchpad City. We're going to see how that goes along. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're enjoying the other content on the channel. Remember, folks, laughing is living. This place is a madhouse, but hey, we're going to get there. Well, you know it.